Have you guys seen this? Due to a loophole in the law, the Trump administration has been rounding up wild horses to slaughter, selling them for about $700 a wild stallion. America's wild horses are one of the few remaining, I don't know what you'd call them, I guess, like mysteries. Not mysteries, I suppose. The faint glimmering spark of the mystery and adventure of the American Wild West. They are literally sending helicopter crews to go round up wild horses and slaughter them for pennies on the dollar. They're doing this because it means that those areas are no longer full of protected wild horses, which means they can sell the land. Stop, this is so sad. We don't have that many wild horses left. They once had free run through desert mountains of the West with a multicolored band of 68 wild Mustangs that had never been saddled or corralled. Then the federal government rounded them up with helicopters, as it has with tens of thousands of other Mustangs, in an attempt to control wild populations on public lands. The horses were held for years in a feedlot in Idaho while the government tried to find them what it called loving homes. Abruptly this March, the government found a home. Whether it was loving didn't seem to matter. The horses were packed into echoing metal trailers and trucked 1,800 miles east to the pens of hard luck livestock trader in Ohio named Brandon Jones, who bought them for $25 each. Sorry for the misinformation. I thought it was $7.50. $25 each for a wild stallion. From there, the Mustangs disappeared. They never appeared at a public auction. The trader won't say where they went. Wild horse advocates suspected the horses were shipped to slaughter. No doubt Brandon Jones is a friend of the Trump administration. He basically got free horses he could sell for glue. But that's not the government's concern. It got what it wanted. 2 more trucks of wild horses off its books. In the past year, the government has shipped the trader 1 truckload of Mustangs after another, and it's not just him. An examination of government records by the New York Times found that all over the country, the Bureau of Land Management, the agency in charge of protecting wild horses, is quietly selling thousands of horses to buyers like the ones in Idaho. I think we found the source of the mystery meat. I literally made that joke when we started this segment. Keep up. Slaughtering wild horses is illegal, but the Bureau's actions create a loophole that enables people to get Mustangs on the cheap and then quickly resell them to be exported alive, processed into cuts of meat, and sold abroad. I thought eating horse meat was illegal in America. Sold abroad. Sold to slaughter plants in Canada. The U.S. government's sale of wild horses was once rare, but started to rise after Trump took office. In 2025, they more than doubled to 3,700 horses, according to Bureau records. In an interview, Mr. Jones said he was able to resell the horses quickly, though he didn't advertise online or even post a for sale sign at his corral. He would not say where the horses went and denied selling any to slaughter. The government can spend more than $3,000 to capture a Mustang and bring it to market, but sells each for as little as $25. Oh, here's where I got the $750 from. A horse can fetch up to $750 at a slaughter plant. You'll notice that, like, these numbers are nothing. $25, $3,000, $750 per horse. It's literally nothing. The reason the government is doing this is because the Bureau of Land Management has to protect the habitats of wild horses, so slaughtering the horses means there's more open land to rape. The Bureau did not respond to questions about sales or make leaders available for comment. An unattributed statement from the agency said it remains dedicated to placing animals into good homes, protecting their welfare, and upholding its statutory responsibilities on behalf of the American public. It was in Project 2025? Yes, it was. Project 2025 also calls for this. Again, the goal is infinite rape. The Bureau of Land Management, one of its jobs is to protect the wild habitats of horses, free federal land that belongs to you and I. It's public. America is unique in how much public land it has. It's unique. Among Western countries in Western Europe, you'll find many of these countries have very little public land. America has much public land. If you go to the United Kingdom, there's basically none. If you wander the hillside, you'll find that almost all of it is owned by some local lord or company or whatever. But in America, near infinite tracts of land are owned publicly. You're free to wander them as you please. They're the public good. The goal of Project 2025 in part has been to destroy that land, mulch it, sell it to private interests so that they can... I mean, I don't even really think it's about the profits. I think it's more of a rape thing. They just want to destroy things. I'm pretty sure I read just the other day there was an effort to take the grizzly bear off the protected species list. Brown bear protected endangered species. You probably don't even realize how few remaining classic like species there are out there. There are only a few thousand wild gorillas. Orangutans are basically extinct. Grizzly bears are threatened under the Federal Endangered Species Act, but there is an effort to remove them from that. Did you know back in 1975 there were fewer than 800 grizzly bears in the entire continental United States? Now there are about 2,000. Think of that. Just about 2,000 in the continental United States. The continental United States is massive. It's huge. And across its range, there is about 2,000 grizzly bears. That's it. And Republicans want to take them off the Endangered Species Act. Isn't this already a dead slave country? Yeah, of course. I've been saying America's a dead slave country for years now. Jesus Christ, look at this. The rest go into a labyrinth of feedlots and pastures that the Bureau calls the holding system. The system now stores 58,000 wild horses at an annual cost of $100 million. In other words, the federal government pays $100 million to private ranchers to hold on to wild horses that the government is pulling out of the wild so that it can sell off more land to private interests. Caring for them eats up most of the Bureau's $142 million wild horse budget. Why? The goal is to transfer tax funds to private corporations. Over the years, Bureau leaders have floated various lethal proposals for reducing the herds, including using sharpshooters, selling horses directly to slaughterhouses, and building a gas chamber. But Congress, aware the public wants Mustangs protected, has barred the Bureau from spending any money to kill healthy wild horses until the Trump administration found a loophole. So, as is often the case, this problem existed well before Trump. Trump has just found the most brute force, obvious way of making it worse. Why do they want to kill them? To open up more land to be sold. The peak population of grizzly bears was 60,000, by the way. I mean, sure, after we started tracking the numbers. God only knows what those numbers were like before Europeans landed in the New World. But yeah, 60,000 is, by my math, roughly, 30 times 2,000? That is a larger number. First, the Bureau has to show a wild horse can't be adopted. It does this by posting hundreds of horses at a time to its online adoption site. If a horse has three 1-week listings with no takers, the law permits the government to designate it as unadoptable. Then it can be put up for sale. That's an important legal distinction because a wild horse retains its federal protections. One that is sold loses those protections immediately. A sold horse still can't be legally killed, at least not yet, because the buyer is required to sign a contract promising not to slaughter the horse or knowingly sell it to anyone who intends to resell it for slaughter. But if the buyer resells to a middleman without asking questions, the buyer is safe from prosecution. Easiest loophole in the world. The Ohio horse trader. Brandon Jones appeared out of nowhere in the wild horse world last spring and quickly became the Bureau's biggest buyer, Bureau records show. I wonder what his personal relationship was with Trump prior to this happening. He got his start in Mustangs after 2 of his previous livestock auction businesses folded, leaving a string of debts. Oh yeah, a string of bankruptcies, definitely Trump-affiliated. He's only 35 years old. When approached by a reporter from The Times, he was at times friendly and at times agitated. He spoke for 2 hours but refused to say specifically what had happened to the horses he purchased from the government because he has to pretend that he doesn't know he's selling them to slaughter. That's like the legal loophole. As long as he pretends he doesn't know he's selling them to slaughter, he's legally protected. He said it was wrong to see him as a bad guy. By reselling Mustangs, he said he had saved the government millions. Shouldn't I be getting a thank you, he asked? Articles like this are well corroborated. Ravithi 620. There are small clues to what may have happened to the wild horses sold to Mr. Jones. Really? 4 showed up late last fall at an auction in Tennessee frequented by slaughter buyers, and a local Mustang trainer alerted the Bureau. The Bureau did not pause sales to Mr. Jones after alert. About a week later, records show, it shipped him 68 more horses. The U.S. has no horse slaughter plants, at least not yet. The industry here was shut down in 2007, so horses are now exported to Canada. Until June, when exports were stopped amid concerns over a New World screwworm outbreak, they also went to Mexico. My autistic desire for justice can't take this. Do you think we might have, buried the lead a little bit when we decided that caring about justice was an autistic trait? I feel like we're genuinely doing the neurotypicals a little bit of a disservice with that one, don't you think? Like, we might be a little bit unfair to them? Like, my autistic desire for good things to happen. I feel like you're puffing yourself up a little bit. Give yourself a bit of credit, okay? I think it's okay to care about justice, in general, in my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Anyway, before long, we're probably not going to have any more wild horses. Or at least far, far fewer of them. Very little coverage of this, by the way. Mostly just the New York Times that broke this story.